Teaa Allston-Bing, Human Resources Director for the City of Douglasville, is an accomplished HR professional with over 15 years of experience in the public sector. Teaa specializes in training and development, talent management, employee relations, compensation, benefits administration, wellness programs, and risk management. Teaa currently serves as president of the Georgia Local Government Personnel Association, president of the Georgia Public Employer Labor Relations Association, vice president of membership for the National Association of African Americans in Human Resources Atlanta chapter, and sits on several other boards of directors. She is a certified professional in human resources through the Human Resources Certification Institute, the Society for Human Resource Management, and an advanced certified human resources manager certification through the University of Georgia. Clearly, she knows what she's talking about, y'all. She holds an associate, bachelor and master's degrees, all from Strayer University. Teaa is currently pursuing a Doctor of Business Administration in HR at Capella University. Welcome, Teaa.
Thank you, Maria. Hi, everybody. I hope you all are having an amazing conference so far. And I just want to thank everyone and welcome everyone today to the conference. Thank you for having me. I'm so inspired today. What inspired me most about PSI Georgia is the mission to promote awareness and education of Black maternal mental health. It is so critical for families to have support during and after pregnancy. And when moms are ready to return to work, they need the same support, if not more. So I'm going to talk about what that looks like, returning to work, and provide guidance and navigating the process. And hey, I'm a mom as well. I have a 22-year-old, and I had no idea of the resources available to me as a new mom and going back to work. And so I commend PSI Georgia for their resources, their purpose, and mission. So now I will start my presentation. So I want to talk about legal considerations. And in my background as a human resources director, legal considerations mean everything, very, very important. And so there are some terms and alphabet soup, we call it, legal compliance laws that govern us in the workplace as it pertains to moms returning back to work. And the first legal consideration that I want to talk about is the Pregnancy Discrimination Act. There is a law that protects pregnancy in the workplace. It bans, the basis of this act is discriminating against pregnancy in the workplace, and that is forbidden. Childbirth or related medical conditions that constitute unlawful sex discrimination under the Title VII Act, which is an employment law act. Women affected by pregnancy or related conditions must be treated in the very same manner as other applicants or other employees with similar abilities or limitations. So if you did not know that this act exists, this is a little bit of information to take back with you and to have as it relates to legal considerations. Next slide. So what are the benefits? What are employees and moms entitled to in the workplace? There are employees and moms have rights in the workplace. Family medical leave is another legal consideration. It is a federal law that allows for time off due to medical conditions such as pregnancy. It is an unpaid 12-week covered leave for applicable employees. However, the leave can be paid if the employee or if the mom has paid time leave to substitute. She must be returned to the same job or to an equivalent job before leaving the workplace. There are health benefits that the mom is entitled to as well. And under the Family Medical Leave Act, those health benefits must be maintained while the mom is out on leave. So take note of that as well. The employer is responsible for maintaining the health benefits of the new mom. And again, as I mentioned earlier, unpaid leave of absence. So that is the right of the mom under the Family Medical Leave Act to have these benefits. They are required to be maintained and to be upheld. And if an employer is not complying with these benefits, then there could be some ramifications, some legal ramifications for the employer. So the moms must know what their rights are and what they are entitled to as far as taking time off due to pregnancy. Next slide. So on this slide, there are some common themes, common emotions that moms will experience. And I would venture to say even dads as well, because you know, these are emotions that can be on either side of the parental house. So anxiety is one emotion that we as moms, you know, can go through during this time. That can be maybe it can be sometimes, maybe it can be all the time, but it is an emotion that will most likely the mom will experience during this time. Guilt, just having to pivot and having to change, you know, the norm, you know, at work, or the norm, you know, in the household. And so that is an emotion as well. And I would just say, don't be afraid of that. These emotions are going to happen. The anger emotion is one that will probably rear its head as well. And it's okay, but knowing how to deal with these types of emotions and having support on both sides, whether it's at home or whether it's at work, is very critical. Sadness, another emotion that it can be overwhelming. But again, just knowing how to deal with it and having the support. Excitement, excitement about what's to come, excitement about being, if it's a new mom for the first time, excitement about being a mom again. Just some emotions to mention here on this slide, and there are others, but these are the more common themes. Action plans, very important to have. Preparing, being organized, I cannot stress that enough. You want to check the box on a few things as it relates to being prepared. Childcare is one. I had no idea as a new mom what that looks like, and hindsight, looking back, just taught me that preparing, seeking out different places and resources that I wanted to have for childcare, and having that in place before returning back to work is key. And not waiting until, oh, it's time to return, let me figure this out, but go ahead and take a stab at that. Even a feeding plan. I will say that I was fortunate as well in this area that my feeding plan was very seamless, but it's not always the case for others. And again, having a schedule, a feeding plan on a schedule, and sometimes, you know, that will vary. However, trying to just be as you know, on time and on schedule and organized as possible is definitely key. And here's a fave: scheduling self-care. Moms need self-care. And this envelope is pushing more now than I've ever seen it. I mean, I just, even now, I have to just take time for self-care. It's very important. What I try to do and what I can offer up is one self-care item a week, if possible, whatever that looks like. But scheduling the self-care and sticking to that schedule is very important. And then consider flexible scheduling if it's possible in the organizations when returning back. You want to ask, is it something that can be accommodating? Many have not because they ask not. And right now with this new norm for us in workplaces, flexible scheduling is becoming more widely accepted. And so if that is something as a new mom or a repeat mom that can be offered, I would say ask for that and take advantage of that in order for just ease of transition. Next slide. Aha, perfect segue, easing the transition. And so there are things in addition to the moms that the employer can do to be supportive of returning back to work. And these organizational strategies are some that I've added to the slide. And I just want to talk about the challenges, understanding the challenges. Employers will fare better and retain better and have a better, retention outlook as it relates to their moms in the workplace returning and understanding the challenges of what the moms and the families could be, facing, and just offering up any support, during that time and beyond. Expecting absences for childcare because life happens. And when employers understand that and more supportive of that, it will be a better employee-employer relationship as well. Other benefits and services to assist with routine for new moms and returning moms. Pump rooms, for example, in my organization, we just were able to finalize a lactation room for our moms that need that in the workplace, and we have utilized it. It is a private area. It doesn't take too much to make it comfortable for the moms. Nice rocking chair and a pillow, a refrigerator for the moms to store milk, bottled water, calming, relaxing music, and there you have it. You have satisfied workers, satisfied moms, and the employer is showing good faith and assisting with the new moms and what they need. Employee assistance programs, they're out there. If you've not tapped into one or had to use one, most organizations have an employee assistance program. We call it EAP, alphabet soup in the HR world, but another resource for counseling services and any other type of services that can be provided to help the new moms and returning moms. And keeping the lines of communication open. This is very important because communication is the number one deterrent in the workplace, failure to communicate. And so the employer and the new mom have to keep those lines of communication open so that they can assist. And then, as I mentioned on the previous slide, flexible scheduling. If the employer can provide that is a good thing to take advantage of as well, in order to just have some sense of normalcy, some sense of ease, and assisting those moms with still maintaining, their work as well as being able to make time for family as well. Next slide. So here are some do's and don'ts that I want to talk about. Moms, go easy on yourself. It can be overwhelming sometimes, and there will be moments where you will need to pause, but go easy on yourself. Having children and childbirth is it's a life change. It's an experience, and so don't want to beat yourself up too much if something didn't go right today, if the alarm didn't go off, if the feeding schedule didn't get adhered to, or just go easy on yourself. Do ask for help when needed. I can't stress that enough. Again, like I said on the previous slide, keeping the lines of communication open at work and at home. It takes a village, as the previous presenter said. It really does to go through, a milestone and a life change of having a child. Communicate with supervisors. That is very important. Sometimes in the workplace, and I'm speaking from an HR perspective, moms will communicate directly with the HR or the personnel staff and not communicate with the supervisor. But I always advise, in order to be fair, make sure that the person that you're reporting to is also aware of what you need, if you need time off, if you're having a little bit of trouble. So keeping that connection as well is very important. And then on the flip side, what you don't want to do is expecting everyone to understand what you're going through, because it will not be familiar to some. It may be familiar to others, but just keep that in mind, because that can be stressful. Expecting everyone to understand, feelings and emotions and what is needed. So just don't expect everyone to understand. Ignore physical signs. Don't ignore, I'm sorry, physical signs of your body. Talking about the don'ts here. If your body is saying something, listen to it. There may be times when you have to take a time off to go see a physician, or if it's just a mental health day, to take off work, just to gather everything, thoughts and check into what's going on with your body and make those appointments. Do not ignore physical signs of your body, and don't overexert yourself. We as moms, sometimes we take that superwoman to the extreme, that we can hold that title, but it's okay sometimes to just stop and say, maybe I can't do this much today, or I'm doing too much today. So keep these things in mind as it relates to the do's and the don'ts of returning to work. And so as it relates to my final thoughts, I just wanted to share resources with you that I looked into, and that, again, prior to me being a mom, didn't realize, what resources were out there to help me. And I was a young mom, but I was a working mom, and I worked up until the day that I had my son, and I had no idea of what to do as it relates to transitioning back to work, and what resources that I could tap into. My employer at the time did not make a big deal of that or shed a lot of light on that. So again, as I talked about what an organizational strategy, looks like, have those conversations. Resources are out there. Path Forward is one that is mentioned here. It's a nonprofit. It works both with companies and job seekers to create what they call returnships. And I like that. I like that play on word, not an internship, but a returnship. And when women have been away from the workforce for a little bit, sometimes there's new skills that they have to relearn. They have to, what we call in HR, reskill and upskill. And so Path Forward is a resource. You can just look that up, Google that, and read about their mission and vision. Also Elevate. It's a dynamic community that connects women across industries for discussion, mentorship, advice, even virtual and in-person meetups from what I read. And this is not something for specific industries. It's for all industries and women in all types of work, and what that looks like. And there's many industries across the nation, but I like Elevate because they want to pull together as many as they can in their community to have those conversations. So look that one up as well. And then WMAG, Working Moms Against Guilt. And we talked about those emotions a little bit ago, as far as not letting that emotion overcome you, but it does happen. And it's a platform. It's an online platform that offers support as well, resources, and a list of mom-friendly organizations. So They also provide other resources as well. And for those looking to on-ramp and feel good about it, it's a great organization. And I think all three of these, and there are others out there, many, many more, but their uniqueness about these three is what I wanted to touch on today. And so these are my final thoughts, and hopefully I've given you some what I call HR, human resources nuggets, as it relates to from my lens and what I see and how I'm able to assist moms returning to work. I do it all the time, and again, you have rights, but not knowing those rights sometimes can shed light on things in the workplace. And hopefully the legal considerations that are out there and in force, hopefully those are being adhered to by all organizations, and that compliance is everything. And if not, I don't think a company will want to land themselves in any kind of hot water for not being what they need to be to their moms and following the law. So so that is what I have for you all today. Again, thank you for having me, and I am an open book as it relates to questions in my realm and in my wheelhouse. And so I will take those. All right, so there is a question: how can workplaces support those who breastfeed, clean, safe places to express milk, fridge for storage, allowing just for those considerations. And again, I think that when organizations go above and beyond and do more and show good faith, a small area can do a lot for moms returning. As I mentioned, the example that I shared with my organization, we decided that it was necessary because we had moms going out and returning on a frequent basis, and it just is what it is. But we wanted to say, hey, how can we help? What can we do to make our moms feel comfortable? And so I think that having that area and spending just a little bit out of the budget doesn't, it doesn't hurt to have a refrigerator or, a rocking chair, bottled water. This is small fry stuff. So hopefully organizations will take heed to that. And another question from Ebony Toller: do you think the United States will ever have a benefit that automatically offers paid leave without having to take personal days? I know we have FMLA, but it's unpaid leave. Will employers have something better in place for postpartum mental health? So I would say, Ebony, there is and has been lots and lots of conversations throughout the presidential administrations about paid time off. But sometimes those conversations were only centered around federal employees. And so when I'm advocating and having conversations with elected officials and on up the chain about human resources issues and how can they help, I am an advocate for that. I do believe in having paid leave versus unpaid leave. I think it's very important. I think it will do, on my side of the house, it will do a lot for talent acquisition and retention. And so I definitely agree with that and will continue to advocate for that. Do I think it's coming? I absolutely do. I think that it's coming. So we'll hang in there and see what federal laws will apply just across the board, and not just for federal employees. And there I have another question. Are there laws that protect breastfeeding in the workplace? Again, there are some laws that apply to certain industries. that protect breastfeeding in the workplace. But what I would like to see in the future is that these laws that are handed down in different cases that come across from the United States Supreme Court, which is the regulatory agency that regulates cases, employment cases and employee cases. I would like to see these things be across the board. I definitely feel that having a breastfeeding area, chest feeding area in the workplace is necessary. And again, just helps with returning moms and returning, back to the workplace. And because there's sometimes, well, I've seen in my organization, moms use it for a very, very, very long time, depending on how long they wanted to, breastfeed in the workplace. So there are some, but again, I would like to see those laws be applied across the board. I have another question. How can you support moms who are treated unfairly at the workplace for having to take more sick time when their kids are sick? And so I think that human resources professionals have this task to look into any types of complaints or issues that they are being untreated fairly at the workplace. And again, when I mentioned earlier, having the communication, keeping the communication open with the organization. I think this is an area for someone like myself in human resources that would look into something like this to make sure that first we are looking at policy because that is what governs the organization. And then we're looking at any type of laws that could be applicable. And then we're having the conversations and mediating the conversations, as it relates to what is fair, what is the operational need. So there are things to consider, but I definitely think that the HR professionals in the workplace have the task of supporting both sides, both the mom and both, the organization. So it is definitely something that I think would be leaned towards for us as HR professionals to lean towards us for that support. So Ms. Jordan says, I'm also in human resources. I am young and a first-time mother to be. How can we connect with you outside of the seminar? I would love more guidance on things HR related. Absolutely, Ms. Jordan. And my hopefully you can see that and connect. All right, and I think that we may have time for, let's see, one more question. Let's see. FMLA and disability forms often ask where the condition is pregnancy related. Do you know what impact this has on approval of the disability, or what is this information used for? So yes, so there are family medical leave forms that are required to be filled out and turned in to the organization. It is best to work with the physician because that is going to be the person that would be certifying those forms. And so that information is used to, as it relates to the guidelines of the Federal Family Medical Leave Act. And so it's not to be intrusive. It is only for the eyes of those that are HIPAA certified as it relates to protected health information, but working with the physician and making sure the physician clearly spells out what is being impacted and what the limitations are. And I just want to go back to the previous question about how to connect with me. Hopefully you all saw my LinkedIn information. Please feel free to connect with me as it relates to any type of HR questions that you may have. I avail myself to any and all that I connect with, and I love to pay it forward and to share HR related information. So please connect with me.
Mhm.
All right. So I think that is my time, and thank you for having me. I am still
And Tia,
inspired.
can you hear me, Tia?
Yes.
Hi, so I had a question, and
Yes.
I would love to get your insight on this one. So, since the start of the pandemic, of course, we've had to adjust and work from home and work virtually, and many companies are seeing that it's an effective model. Do you see or foresee, or are there conversations in your circle about there being some type of hybrid schedule where workers are working from home and sometimes in the office? Because I know this could be very beneficial to working moms.
Absolutely. I definitely think the hybrid work schedule is being more accepting than just total virtual or total, flexible schedule as it relates to working from home. And in my network of HR professionals, we talk a lot about this and what can be done for certain positions. And so I think that organizations are looking at the positions now, they're looking at the role itself to see what other areas can be supported in order to retain their employees. Because I can tell you, turning over employees due to whatever reason, whether it's the schedule and the ability to work from home, the turnover cost for one mom or one employee is 300%, which is very, very high. And so I think that we don't have a choice now as it relates to looking at the hybrid schedule or looking at offering more ways to, telework than we've had to before. But I would say the hybrid model, if it introduced to an organization that has not entertained it, would probably be more accepted than the 100% telework model.
Yeah, yeah, that's great.
Yes.
That's good to know because, I can imagine when my kids were younger, they're older now, but this, schedule would have worked very, perfectly for me
Absolutely.
because I'm kind of on a hybrid schedule myself, and I'm sure that there are some moms that can relate to that and feel
Yes.
like that may be more beneficial for that work-life balance and then still being able to spend time with your children. So thank you so much for that
Absolutely.
insight, Tia.
You're very welcome. Thank you.